Hello, students. So, as promised, I'm going to take today Dead White Males by David Williamson. Now, before we start the play, let's know something about the writer, the playwright. So, who was David Williamson? David Williamson was one of the Australia's most famous playwrights who was known for writing about modern day society, and that too in a way which would make us laugh, and it would also make us think deeply. Okay, so his works often explored themes like relationships, politics, power, social norms. And because he has written over 50 plays, he is often considered as a voice of contemporary Australian theatre. Okay, so now that we know about Williamson, let's turn to Dead White Males. Yes, okay. So now we are going to look at the historical and background context of David Williamson's play Dead White Males. Now, understanding the time and ideas behind the play is going to help us to appreciate why Williamson wrote about it and why it is so significant. Okay, so what is Dead White Males about? See, the play was written and it was first performed in 1995, and it was one of Williamson's most celebrated works. Now, the 1990s were a period of intense debates about culture, education, identity, especially in Western societies like Australia. Okay, so let's understand some of the big discussions that was happening in society during this time. So there are some key cultural debates of the 1990s, which were the canon debate, feminism and postmodernism, and identity and diversity. So we are going to take up one by one. First is canon debate, the canon debate. Okay, so universities and schools, they traditionally focused on teaching works by famous Western writers and thinkers like Shakespeare, Plato, and others, right? So this body of work is often known as Western literary canon. Canon. Okay. So, however, during the late 20th century, what happened is many scholars started to question this tradition, and they asked, why are these works mostly by white men? Why? Like, what about writers from other cultures, women, or marginalized communities? Why are we not reading literature created by these people? So, this debate was central to what is called the culture wars, which were about what should be taught in schools and universities. Okay, then it was feminism, and second is feminism and postmodernism. Now feminism was gaining strength in 1990s as a movement, and it pushed for equality and questioned the male dominated traditions. Then there was another thought, which was postmodernism, which was a philosophy that challenges the idea of one absolute truth. Now, that too became very influential during this time, and it argued that what we consider truth is often shaped by power and perspective, right? सो जिसको हम सच मानते हैं वो एक्चुअल में सच नहीं होता है. इट इज़ ऑफन समथिंग विच हैज़ बीन शेप्ड बाय पावर एंड पर्सपेक्टिव. जिसके पास पावर होता है वही जो भी बोलता है वही सच होता है. जिसके पास एक पर्सपेक्टिव जो कि अभी ट्रेंडिंग चल रहा है, वो जो उसका जो पर्सपेक्टिव वो वही सबके लिए सच हो जाएगा. सो दैट वाज द कंटेंशन, राइट? Then the third one is identity and diversity. Now there was a growing focus on diversity, inclusion, and representation in all aspects of society, including education and the arts. So people began to challenge the dominance of white male perspectives in shaping cultural knowledge, right? Then, because David Williamson is an Australian playwright, we should understand the Australian context as well. Now, Australia in the 1990s was also grappling with its identity. So, the country's history of colonization and the marginalization of indigenous Australians was being widely discussed. Right. So there were debates about how much of Australia's culture and education was still tied to European traditions and how it could become more inclusive of its diverse population. जैसे इंडिया में भी तो अभी वही चल रहा है. We are now adopting the IKS system, Indian knowledge system, instead of like even in UGC net examination you can see कि questions of Indian aesthetics से ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं, बहुत आ रहे हैं. And there will be a time जब इसके टॉपिक्स ज़्यादा आने लगेंगे. Why is it happening? Why are we so much emphasizing upon IKS? Just because of this reason. We are now accepting our culture. So in the same way, Australia was also questioning each and everything that when they are going to read literature written by them, right? So why that has not been popularized? So David Williamson, being a playwright, he often responded to these cultural debates in his works. Okay, now why is dead white males important? Now, see, it is a play that challenges our assumptions about culture, history, and learning. Okay, and this play, Dead White Males, it forces us to ask who gets to shape knowledge, who benefits from these ideas, and at the same time, it is very relatable because it portrays the conflicts and debates we often face when we try to learn something new that challenges our beliefs. Right, so Dead White Males is more than just a play, it is in fact a conversation starter. Why? Because it encourages us to reflect on what we value and why we value it and how those values are going to shape our society. Okay, so uh, even the title itself reflects these debates. If you are going to see the title, Dead White Males, dead because the figures that are being discussed, like Shakespeare, right, they have long passed away. Then coming to white males. Now, because these figures were predominantly white men whose works dominated Western culture and education, we have white males in the title. So, the title is provocative as it is inviting the audience to question whether these figures and their ideas are still relevant in modern times. Okay, so David Williamson has always been interested in the big questions of the society, and through this play, he does not take one side but instead explores the conflict between tradition and change. Okay, he is in fact asking us, should we hold on to the classics just because they have timeless value, or should we challenge them and make room for new choices? So the play reflects Williamson's ability to capture the tensions of his time, especially in academic and intellectual circles. Right. So, to sum up, we can say that Dead White Males is, in fact, a play which is deeply rooted in the cultural and intellectual debates of the 1990s. During the 1990s, there was a shift in how education was approached, right? Why? Because traditionalists argued that the classics taught universal truths that everyone should learn, and the progressives, they argued that education should reflect diverse perspectives, including those of women, indigenous people, and non-Western cultures. So this clash between the traditionalists and the progressives, right, between traditional and modern views of education, forms the backdrop of our play Dead White Males. So it reflects a society in transition which is questioning its past while trying to shape a more inclusive future. And Williamson, as always, presents these issues with thoughtfulness, making this play a very powerful, making this play a powerful commentary on education, culture, and identity. Okay, have we left out anything? Yeah, and coming to this particular play, yes, I have told this thing. Okay, so in the next video, I am going to take up a short summary of the play, a gist of the play, then themes that are significant to this particular play, and symbols that have been used in this play. Okay, thank you.